If you watched my recent video on the 7 reasons you'll never ever win an argument with a narcissist, then you probably walked away with one realization, and that is that the game is rigged. And a lot of you commented saying, okay, Lise, I get it, but what do I actually do in this situation? I still have to talk to this person. I'm still in this relationship. So that's what this video is for. But I just want to be clear, these moves are not about winning an argument. It's not about changing her. And it's not even about controlling the outcome. These moves that I'm about to give you are about refusing to play by her rules. And every move here is rooted in self-respect. Okay, so let's jump right in. The first move is to slow everything down. So let's say you come home a little bit later than usual because a meeting ran late, or you stopped for gas on the way home, and you get that rapid fire interrogation the minute you walk in the door. But the more you explain, the worse the situation gets. And what you need to understand is that speed hands control to the person creating the pressure. Here's why. When she sets a frantic pace and you match it, she's controlling the tempo and you're dancing to it. So when that pressure hits, don't match her speed and energy. Do the exact opposite. Take a long, deep breath, drop your shoulders, slow your speech and your movements right down, and say something like, give me a moment. I want to actually hear what you're saying. And she might continue to come at you really fast and pressure you because she wants you to succumb to that pressure. But the power move here is to be the calmest person in the room. Slowing the pace signals that you're not rattled, and it takes the steering wheel from her hands without even saying one confrontational word. The second move is to stop explaining yourself. When you're explaining and defending, you're the one who's on trial, and you're giving her the power to decide whether your answer is good enough. But the truth is, she doesn't have that authority over you unless you hand it to her. You do not need to build a full legal defense for why you are a half hour later than usual. You can explain it once, then stop explaining and defending. And yes, she'll continue to push, she'll continue to pressure, she'll continue trying to get you on the defensive. And what you can say here is, I've already told you what happened. I'm not going to continue defending it. Then stop. No more qualifiers, no softer version. And yes, expect her to test whether you'll break and start explaining yourself again. But don't, because every detail you offer becomes a new thread for her to pull on. So fewer words, fewer threads, fewer weapons for her to use against you. And it's not about being cold or stonewalling. You're simply refusing to audition for a role that you've already earned. Move number 3 is recognize the unsolvable problem that she is creating. So in healthy conflict, there is a real problem to solve, and you can dig and find it. You can address it, and then the tension settles. But with a narcissist, you dig, and one accusation just leads to another. And if you dig under that, it's another issue. And if you dig under that, something else from 2 years ago comes up. It's like trying to pin Jello to the wall. And it's not because you're bad at communicating, it's because there is no solvable problem. The conflict is driven by ego, status, control. It's a bottomless need for security that no conversation will ever satisfy. So stop digging and start recognizing that you don't need to exhaust yourself chasing a solution that doesn't exist. And when this shift happens, you'll stop feeling like a failure because you couldn't figure out the problem, and you'll start conserving your energy that you've been using to try to get to the bottom of this bottomless pit. Move number 4 is to redirect her accusations. So when she throws an accusation out at you, your instinct is going to be to answer to it directly, to engage with the content of what she said, to defend against the specific charge, to present evidence. And that's what she wants, because the accusation is designed to put you on the defensive. And the moment you're defending, you've already lost. So instead of answering the accusation, redirect it. Here's the rule. If she's attacking with details, zoom out. If she's making sweeping accusations, zoom in on the specifics. For example, if she says you were gone for 47 minutes and you said it was only 30, well, now she's microscoping, trying to catch you in a minor inconsistency, trying to build a case from the smallest details. Don't play that game. Zoom out. Say something like, it sounds like the bigger issue is that you're upset that I wasn't here. What's this really about? Or maybe instead of microscoping, she's making broad accusations. So saying something like, you never prioritize me, or you always put everyone else first. And in this case, zoom in and reset the frame to the specifics. And what you're doing here is you're changing the terrain. She sets up the fight on ground that favors her, and you're just moving it to neutral ground. And not self-protection, not manipulation. Number 5, name the pattern. So most men either explode or shut right down, but there is a third option. Just describe what's happening in real time. So that might be, I noticed we started talking about the dishes and now we're talking about your mother's visit. It's just about noticing and describing without attacking, accusing, or labeling. And she's not going to like this either. The fact is, she's not going to like anything that doesn't end in a clear-cut win for her. So you'll see an escalation in her accusations and emotions. She might play the victim, call you immature, condescending, anything to get you emotionally off balance. But the more neutral you remain, the better. Think about it like this. When you're the commentator, you can't lose. Why? Because you're no longer a player in the game. You're above it. Number 6, never take the bait on defending your character. And this one will feel counterintuitive because every instinct in your body will want to fight against it. So when she says things like you're a terrible father, or you're just like your mother, or you're so selfish, every part of you is going to want to fight back, to prove her wrong, to list every sacrifice you've made, every time you've showed up for her and your family, every way that you've tried to help her. But don't defend your character to her. And here's why. There is a critical difference between someone who is questioning your behavior in a specific situation and someone who is attacking your identity as a human being. I didn't like how you handled that is feedback, and you can work with that. You're a terrible person, that's an identity attack. And the moment you engage with it, you have made a catastrophic strategic error. Because the moment you start defending your character, you are signaling that your shame buttons are active. And you have just handed her the remote control. Because now she knows exactly which button to press, and she will press it again and again. Because it works. So what do you do instead? You say something like, I'm not going to argue about who I am as a person. If there's a specific behavior or situation you want to talk about, I'm open to that. So you're not refusing to communicate altogether. You're not shutting down. You're not being defensive. You're not stonewalling. But you're drawing a line between what you're willing to discuss and what's off limits. And the first few times you hold that line, you'll feel something shift. And that's your self-respect coming back online. Number 7 is stand up and walk away from the table. Unfortunately, every move I just gave you has one thing in common, and that is that it doesn't change the other person. It doesn't change the outcome unless the other person has the capacity for a real conversation. But a narcissistic partner doesn't. So you need to learn to recognize when a conversation has stopped being a conversation, when the same accusations are looping endlessly, when your words are being twisted faster than you can correct them, when you're defending your character, your sanity, or your reality. When you see these signs, it's over. And you can say something like, I do want to have a conversation with you, but I won't have it like this. Then just calmly leave the table. And yes, she might follow you. She might continue to escalate. She might say things like, see, you always run away, or you can't handle having a real conversation. And let her think what she wants. Because maybe for the first time in your relationship, you decided the conversation was over, not her, you. And you didn't wait until you exploded. You didn't wait until you said something you'd regret. You didn't wait until you were so beaten down that you just apologized or agreed with everything to make it stop. No, you recognized the pattern, you honored your own limits, and you walked away before the game could take anything else from you. And that's the most powerful move you will ever make. If you found this video helpful, please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe. And to learn more about how to deal with a female covert narcissist, please click on the link above.